The Honorable J.S. Malema.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and the President of the Republic of South Africa, and honorable members of this Parliament. Thank you for affording us an opportunity to respond to the State of the Nation delivered by our President. We want to acknowledge and greet millions of South African workers, the poor, downtrodden and dejected masses of our people, particularly 1 million plus South Africans who voted for EFF to come to this Parliament and represent the agenda of economic freedom in our lifetime, without any fear of contradiction. Our people mandated this movement, the EFF, to come and speak on behalf of the homeless, the landless, domestic workers, security guards, farm workers, cleaners, waiters and waitresses, recipients of social grants, construction workers, the unemployed and poverty-stricken masses of our people who are forgotten by the ruling elite, which is in bed with the oppressors and the imperialist forces. I thought it was going to be difficult for me to carry this mandate with a serious commitment against the party which taught me everything I know today about politics. But this was made easy by seeing Mr. Martinus van Schalkwyk on the benches of the ruling party. I then quickly remembered that, by the way, we are not opposing the ANC we joined then, the ANC of Lawrence Pukanuke, but we are opposing the ANC of Martinus van Schalkwyk and Cyril Ramaphosa. Mr. President, when you spoke yesterday, you reaffirmed this belief that indeed we have chosen the correct path because you no longer represent the hope of the hopeless masses of our people. Your speech yesterday was uninspiring and lacked the central theme, Mr. President. No one will remember what you said last night except that we should clean on Mandela Day, which was the only emphasis you made, and maybe because you thought it was the simplest subject you had to deal with in the whole speech last night. What was supposed to be the simplest subject for you has proven to be more complex than you thought, Mr. President, because your cleaning instruction goes against the wishes of President Mandela, who said it must be left to individuals' choice on how they wish to remember him or celebrate his life. I'm sorry, Mr. President, I won't be cleaning on Mandela Day. I will be involved in a more productive activities which will leave long-lasting legacy and remembrance of our world icon. And those activities will, amongst others, include the rebuilding of mud schools in the Eastern Capes and
a point of order, please.
On a point of order, Tate Malema, please.
Honorable Chairperson, the Speaker called the Deputy President of the Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa, and I think he's honorable as the member of this House. Can you rule on that? Thank you.
Honorable Malema, the Honorable Deputy President of this House is an honorable member of this House.
No problem, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa. Mr. President, you tried to speak about radical socio-economic changes in your speech last night, but nothing you said was radical. Instead, we had a repetition of what has been said before. I know very well that your attempt to make radical economic changes your central theme in your speech last night was a direct response to the existence of EFF, or even an attempt to delegitimize it, but you successfully failed in the same way you failed when you introduced the red beret to counter that of the EFF during elections campaign. You and your party should stop playing with semantics, especially when it relates to a radical economic agenda, because you lack courage and you have sold out the revolution. You don't have what it takes to lead the struggle for economic emancipation of black majority, particularly Africans. You are extremely scared of white people, particularly white monopoly capital. You have in the past 20 years defended the privileges of white minority and continue with the exploitation and exclusion of oppressed black majority. The reason for such is because the elite pact that was forced upon the people in 1994 does not allow for radical economic transformation and changes. The pact defends the colonial and apartheid ownership patterns of the means of production, including property. The ANC is part of an elite pact that seeks to protect white monopoly capital and white minority privileges. And this has led to the formation of the EFF because there was a political vacuum and nature does not allow a vacuum. The EFF is here to lead the struggle to dismantle the elite pact and introduce the sunrise clauses. The pact has made you to even accept wrong things as the laws that run this parliament for the past 20 years. For example, the 1975 Act that makes it compulsory for members of parliament to join a certain medical aid scheme. You have been part of this illegal law and unconstitutional law for the past 20 years. It only took the EFF less than 100 days to reject this law, and parliament lawyers have agreed with us that indeed this law was unconstitutional, a law you complied with. This elite pact is reflected by the fact that the most prominent statue in this parliament is a statue of Louis Botha. The one of Nelson Mandela is a very small and is hidden behind the statue of Louis Botha. Louis Botha is not our hero and cannot be a hero of a democratic South Africa. He's a colonial warmonger who fought for the exclusion of black and indigenous people from running their own country and affairs. It's people like this who made white South Africans think that they are superior, and we continue celebrating them. We are equally perpetuating white supremacy. The statue of Botha outside this parliament must go down because it represents nothing of what a democratic South Africa stands for. The statue represents backwardness and apartheid, and therefore it belongs to the dustbin of history and to be replaced with a bigger statue of Siaparankwe Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela. We will never have a true friendship and peace if white minority still behaves like they are superior and we should remain inferior in our own country. All black people continue to learn the languages of white minorities as part of our attempt to reach out to them and create friendship, but with very little attempt from their side to at least learn one of our African languages, because they have a wrong mentality that we must suck up to them. These are some of the legacies people like Louis Botha have left us, and it must be crushed. We must not celebrate anything that perpetuates white supremacy. As part of nation building, maybe we need to take hard steps by not celebrating any white person who does not speak at least or know one of the African languages. If you have a white friend as a black person and he or she does not know your language or take initiative to learn your language or your culture, that person is no friend at all. We need to undermine the legacy of apartheid through celebration of our blackness and unashamedly advance political, social, and economic liberation of blacks in general and Africans in particular. We must do away with self-hatred and embrace who we are and what we stand for. The time for black majority to benefit from natural, mineral, and the beauty of their country is now and can never be postponed. This is where we start. Now, we should deal with politics of what you raised.